Here we present the 32 teams that give life to the National Hockey League (NHL) and that deliver countless emotions to fans. 25 of the clubs are based in the United States and 7 in Canada, the country where the league was born. See what the history of each team is and who their references are. Atlantic Division Boston Bruins first season, 1924-25 Stanley Cup titles, 6 1929, 1939, 1941. 1970, 1972 and 2011 Historical reference, Bobby Orr current start, David Pastrnak Arena: TD Garden. The Boston Bruins are the oldest American team in the NHL, third in the league. Their best era was undoubtedly during the 70s when they went to 5 Stanley Cup finals. However, only in their first 2 trips were they able to win the cup. Buffalo Sabres first season, 1970-71 Stanley Cup titles: 0 Historical reference: Dominik Hasek current star: Tage Thompson Arena: KeyBank Center. Along with the Vancouver Canucks, the Buffalo Sabres are the NHL teams with the longest streak without being able to win their first Stanley Cup. However, they have come close, reaching the finals twice: 1975 and 1999. Detroit Red Wings first season, 1926-27 Stanley Cup titles: 11 1936, 1937, 1943, 1950, 1952, 1954, 1955, 1997, 1998, 2002 and 2008 Historical reference, Gordie Howe current start, Dylan Larkin Arena: Little Caesars Arena. After the NHL became the only league to compete for the Stanley Cup in 1927, the Detroit Red Wings were the first team to win the trophy consecutively: 1936 and 1937. Their 9 additional conquests make them the American club that has won the cup the most. Florida Panthers first season, 1993-94 Stanley Cup titles: 0 Historical reference, Pavel Bure current star: Alexander Barkov Arena: FLA Light Arena. The Florida Panthers flirted with the Stanley Cup in just their 3rd year of existence, but were unable to win it. Since then, they have only been able to win 1 playoff series, which was in the 2022 playoffs against the Washington Capitals, but they have been one of the most colorful clubs in the NHL. Montreal Canadiens first season, 1909-10 Stanley Cup titles: 24 1916, 1924, 1930, 1931, 1944, 1946, 1953, 1956, 1957, 1958, 1959, 1960, 1965, 1966, 1968, 1969, 1971, 1973, 1976, 1977, 1978, 1979, 1986 and 1993 Historical reference: Maurice Richard current start, Nick Swazuki Arena: Belt Center. The Montreal Canadiens are the only current club that was established before the NHL was born: 1917. They are the most majestic and winning club in the history of the league. They are the team that appears the most times 3 on the list of the 8 dynasties on the circuit. From 1951 to 1960 he participated in a record 10 finals in a row, winning 6, 5 in a row. In 2021, he returned to the Stanley Cup final for the first time in 28 years. Ottawa Senators first season, 1992-93 Stanley Cup titles: 0 Historical reference: Daniel Alfredson current start, Brady Tkachuk Arena: Canadian Tire Center. In their original incarnation 1883-1934 the Ottawa Senators won the Stanley Cup 11 times to cement a famous history. In its modern incarnation, success has eluded them. They have only appeared in the Stanley Cup finals once since the NHL returned to Ottawa 2007. Tampa Bay Lightning first season, 1992-93 Stanley Cup titles: 3 2004, 2020 and 2021 Historical reference: Martin St. Louis current start, Nikita Kucherov Arena: Amalie Arena. In recent seasons, the Tampa Bay Lightning has been one of the best teams in the NHL. In the 2018-19 regular campaign he joined the Detroit Red Wings 1995-96 as the only club in the league to record 62 wins. In 2020, he won his 2nd Stanley Cup in franchise history. He did it for the first time in 2004. and he concluded the 2021 playoffs at the top of the NHL again. They became only the second-time league champion since 1998. Toronto Maple Leafs first season, 1917-18 Stanley Cup titles, 13 1918, 1922, 1932, 1942, 1945, 1947, 1948, 1949, 1951, 1962, 1963, 1964 and 1967 Historical reference, Dave Kean Current start, Auston Matthews Arena, Scotiabank Arena. The Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup in the NHL's inaugural season 1917-18 when they weren't known as the Toronto Arenas. They changed names once again before establishing themselves as the Maple Leafs in 1927. In the 1940s, they became the NHL's first great dynasty. They reached 6 finals to be crowned 5 times. 3 were consecutive. It was the first time that a league club had achieved this feat. However, currently, they suffered from the longest streak on the circuit without being able to obtain the title. Metropolitan Division Carolina Hurricanes first season, 1997-1998 Stanley Cup titles: 1 2006 Historical reference, Glenn Wesley Current start, Sebastian Aho Arena, PNC Arena. In 1997, the Hartford Whalers moved from the northern United States to the southern United States to begin a new era as the Carolina Hurricanes. Within their first decade of existence they reached 2 Stanley Cup finals. They won it on their second try. It was the first championship at the professional level for his state, North Carolina. Columbus Blue Jackets first season, 2000-2001 Stanley Cup titles: 0 Historical reference, Rick Nash Current start, Johnny Gaudreau Arena: Nationwide Arena. The Columbus Blue Jackets name came from a contest in which fans in the region were asked to name the NHL's new expansion franchise. Blue Jackets was the winning nickname. It is a tribute to the contributions of the state of Ohio during the United States Civil War. They are the only club in the league that has not participated in a conference final. Their brightest moment in the playoffs so far is when they eliminated the Eastern Conference's top seed, the Tampa Bay Lightning, in a 4-game sweep in the first round of the 2019 playoffs. New Jersey Devils first season, 1982-1983 Stanley Cup titles: 3 1995, 2000 and 2003 Historical reference: Martin Brodeur Current start, Jack Hughes Arena: Prudential Center. This franchise belonged to Kansas City and Colorado before being reborn as the New Jersey Devils. Although it took them some time, they would eventually achieve glory. In 5 appearances in the Stanley Cup final since 1995, they have lifted it 3 times. New York Islanders first season, 1972-73 Stanley Cup titles, for 1980, 1981, 1982 and 1983 Historical reference, Dennis Potvin Current start, Matthew Barzal Arena, UBS Aaron. Among the 8 greatest dynasties in NHL history are the New York Islanders. From 1979 to 1983 they won 4 Stanley Cup championships in a row. No other team in the major North American sports leagues has been able to achieve this feat since then. New York Rangers first season, 1926-27 Stanley Cup titles, for 1928, 1933, 1940 and 1994 Historical reference, Brian Leetch Current start, Artemi Panarin Arena: Madison Square Garden. The New York Rangers are part of the 6 traditional NHL clubs known as the Original Six. The others are the Boston Bruins,